Actually, I've decided to go on a trip to Hawaii starting now.
I received a call from my husband, who betrayed me and continued to extort money from me. I haven't heard anything about Hawaii. My husband responds to this with a smile on his face.
Well, you didn't say anything. Even I need to take a break once in a while, you know. So I decided to unwind in Hawaii.
Huh? What about the money?
I borrowed your credit card. I'll be living it up, so take care of the payments.
I hurriedly checked my wallet. Certainly, my credit card was missing. Hey, what do you mean taking my card without permission?
Don't be stingy. Your earnings are mine, and what's mine is mine, right? So I have the right to use it too.
Who does he think he is? Some cartoon character? My husband spun arguments that make me want to say just that. When I firmly refused, he responded with a, "Well, if that's how it is," and the call from him ended. Finally, I began to take action. As a result, my foolish husband is about to experience hell. My name is Grace. I'm a 31-year-old housewife. To be honest, my family is well off. My father runs a company, and my mother is a full-time housewife, and I hold a managerial position at my father's company. To avoid the appearance of nepotism, I took all required exams and presented myself as an unrelated individual with the same surname as the president. Of course, I earned it through both caution and competence. In my early years, my father showered me with affection and generously funded my education. However, upon graduating from college, he pushed me to stand on my own. Initially, he even told me to apply to a different company. Still, as I admired my father's work, I pleaded with him to let me join his company. He reluctantly agreed, promising not to engage in favoritism. Given such circumstances, I moved out of my family home a long time ago and have been living on my own. Motivated by a desire to repay my father, I dedicated myself to work for several years. I found myself in my late 20s without a boyfriend. Whenever I returned home, my mother would express concern, saying, "Hey, Grace, it's great that you're working hard, but you should start thinking about your own happiness soon." I'm happy right now with my job. It's not about that. Haven't you thought about marriage? Should I help find someone for you? Mom, why are you so obsessed with marriage? Your dad is quite old-fashioned. If he insists on someone taking over the company, I think it would be better if it were your future husband, not you. We would feel more at ease if you married a wonderful person. While I was slightly shocked by my mother's words, I found myself agreeing. Certainly, my father had never explicitly said, "take over the company." It was likely because he naturally assumed it would be a man who would inherit. My father had some old-fashioned beliefs, for sure. Afterward, I decided to find a marriage partner on my own. Despite my mother recommending several arranged meetings, I wanted to choose my life partner myself. I rushed into participating in speed dating events. Even after dating various people, none seemed to click with me. It was during those times that I encountered the man who would later become my husband, Greg Turner. Greg works as a salaried employee in a top-tier company in the same industry as my father. With a gentle smile, he was quite popular at matchmaking events. Greg invited me on a date, and for a year our relationship had no issues. He always paid for our dates and escorted me gracefully. When he proposed, I hesitantly shared the situation at home. "Greg, my father is actually the president of a company called T Corp."
"Huh? T Corp? Isn't that a famous company in our industry?"
"Yeah, and since I'm the only daughter, I was hoping you'd consider it." Greg took a moment to think before responding.
"Got it. Let's hear what my mom thinks first."
Greg's father died when he was in middle school, and he was raised by his mother by herself. We headed to his family's house together and met his mother. "Welcome. I've been looking forward to meeting you." His mother, a stylish and lively woman, greeted us. As expected, she was a career woman overseeing a fashion company. When we told her about our marriage plans and that we wanted him to inherit the company, she smiled and said, "That's fine. Our family isn't the kind that needs someone to inherit. If you two are happy, that's what matters the most. Thank you so much, Mom. And so the marriage introduction with his mother was concluded. By that time, I had grown to really like my mother-in-law. Your mom is such a wonderful person. She exudes this modern, career-oriented woman vibe, and I find it admirable.
Is that so? When she gets mad, she's terrifying. I can't stand up to her.
I couldn't help but laugh at Greg, who shrugged his shoulders. Afterward, it was time to visit my parents' house. When Greg informed them of our intentions, my father and mother were more delighted than I had imagined.
Grace, you've brought an amazing person. We bless your happiness. That's great, Grace. Greg, take care of our daughter, okay?
Greg stood tall and responded warmly to my parents in a refreshing manner. Later, we got married and started living together. My parents gave us a new apartment as a wedding gift. The house was registered under my name. Living in a beautiful city apartment, we thought we'd both work hard and collaborate on household chores. I believed in such an ideal newlywed life. However, that ideal was quickly shattered. Greg unexpectedly quit his job just 1 month after we got married. What do you mean? Quitting your job?
Come on, Grace. You're getting a decent salary, and eventually you'll inherit T Corp, right? I was thinking of being a house husband until then.
What are you talking about? I don't have any support from my parents. I can't rely on that.
With your salary, we'll be fine. Let me take it easy.
Despite repeatedly pleading with him to find a job, Greg didn't take it seriously. Instead, he started to resist, saying,
I came as their son-in-law, and this is how you treat me?
Having felt the need to compromise with such a husband, I asked him to at least take care of the household chores properly.
Leave it to me. Since I'm a house husband, I'll handle the housework.
Even though Greg said that, his household chores were incredibly sloppy. The rooms were messy, laundry was scattered around, and dinner consisted of supermarket ready-made dishes. In the end, I had to redo everything. One day, unable to endure it any longer, I said, Greg, you're not doing any of the housework properly. I want you to be a bit more responsible.
What? I'm doing my best. What's with that attitude?
But...
Seriously, that's what you call having some moral standards. Is it fun for you to blame a vulnerable house husband like me?
Faced with Greg's complaints, I could only sigh. I worked while giving Greg the living expenses, and he handled the household tasks carelessly. This lifestyle continued for a whole year. Around the 1-year mark of our marriage, Greg started asking me for money.
Hey, Grace, I'm running short on living expenses.
Huh? Already? I just gave you some not long ago.
Well, it's not enough. Can't help it, right?
Each time, I reluctantly handed him a few more dollars. Greg even asked me to get a credit card for him, but I refused. With his spending habits, it was unpredictable. Greg, what on earth are you spending so much on? This is going to put us in the red. I was quite worried. During that time, I had to plan a company trip, so I went to a travel agency alone. I was having a meeting in a booth surrounded by walls when I overheard a conversation in the next booth. Hey, where are we going? The Bahamas?
Anywhere with you is fun. But isn't Hawaii better than the Bahamas?
I could hear snippets of the couple's conversation. The voice of that man was unmistakably familiar. It was the exact voice of my husband, Greg. I interrupted the meeting, peeked out from behind the wall, and confirmed it. There he was, Greg, with a smug smile, arm in arm with a woman I didn't recognize, selecting brochures for their trip. At that moment, I understood everything. The reason he became cold towards me and frequently asked for money was because he was having an affair with that woman. I won't forgive him for making a fool out of me. While my head felt like it was boiling, I returned to the meeting booth. The scene I witnessed a moment ago kept swirling in my mind. After that, I took action and asked a private investigator to look into Greg. In just 1 week, substantial evidence of his affair had been gathered. It turned out he was meeting that woman almost every day while I was at work. The woman's name was Heather. Apparently, she worked at night. As I was grappling with the results of the investigation, my phone rang. The caller was Greg. Hello?
Oh, Grace. Working hard, huh?
Greg spoke arrogantly. So what? What do you want?
Hey, can you guess where I am right now?
An airport announcement could be heard in the background. The airport?
Ding dong! Actually, I've decided to go on a trip to Hawaii now.
Greg casually mentioned such a thing. In my mind, the image of the two choosing a travel brochure at the booth came back. I tried to stay as calm as possible. Hawaii? I never heard about that.
Well, you didn't say anything. As a full-time house husband, I need to relax sometimes, right? So I decided to stretch my wings in Hawaii.
Huh? What about the money?
I borrowed your credit card. We'll share the expenses, but you'll take care of the payment, okay?
I hurriedly checked my wallet. Indeed, my credit card was missing. Hey, what's the idea with taking my credit card without permission?
Don't be stingy. Your earnings are mine. And what's mine is mine, right? So, I have the right to use it.
Who does he think he is? Some cartoon character? My husband spun arguments that make me want to say just that. When I firmly refused, he responded with a,
"Well, if that's how it is,"
and the call from him ended. The phone call gave the impression that he was going alone, but there was no doubt he was with his affair partner, Heather. Attempting to use my card for their affair? What audacity. I wonder if they're having a good laugh right now. Even though he was my husband, I was utterly disgusted. I must teach him a lesson. I regained my composure and took action. Timing their arrival in Hawaii, I called the company, reported my credit card as stolen, and had it cancelled. After a while, Greg called me, but I ignored it. 5 days later, when I was at home, Greg returned in a tattered state. His hair was sticky, his face showed signs of fatigue, and he looked as if he hadn't taken a bath. Perhaps sunburned. In such a state, Greg confronted me.
Hey, my credit card didn't work there. What's going on?
Huh? I cancelled it.
You cancelled it? Why the hell would you do that? I told you I was going to Hawaii, didn't I?
If the card is stolen, cancelling it is only natural. Greg became furious at my nonchalant response.
Because of you, I couldn't even stay in a hotel and had to sleep rough in Hawaii. I hardly had any cash, so I survived on just 2 pieces of bread for 3 days. I thought I was going to die.
So how did you make it back?
All I had was a plane ticket. I got tangled up with the local punks and it was a real mess. How are you going to make up for this?
Oh, it sounds like you had a fun Hawaii trip. As I calmly remarked, Greg glared at me.
But seriously, you didn't have to go this far, did you? My life was really in danger. I feel like suing you.
It's me who should be suing.
Huh?
At that moment, I threw several photos on the floor. Those photos clearly showed evidence of Greg's affair. Intimate moments, entering a hotel, and even a snapshot of them holding a large travel bag at the airport. Seeing those pictures, Greg's face turned pale.
What is this? Did you know about it?
Yes, I've been asking the detective agency for a while now. You were planning to use my card for your affair, weren't you? Facing Greg, who turned pale and stuttered, I continued calmly. You'll compensate me for the affair and the money you embezzled, of course. And of course, we're getting a divorce.
Huh? Divorce? Are you kidding me? Divorce over something like this?
Just as Greg uttered those words, a woman's voice echoed in the room. You're the one kidding around. Upon confirming the source of the voice, Greg's legs gave out.
Mom, why are you here?
Yes, I had summoned his mother to this place. I explained his behavior and lifestyle showed evidence of his affair and had his mother waiting in the next room. His mother approached him with determination and delivered a powerful slap. Smack! A loud sound echoed in the room.
What the hell, Mom? What are you doing?
What about you? I didn't even know you quit your job. Not only did you become unemployed and rely on Grace, but you also stole her credit card for a cheating trip. What on earth were you thinking?
Well...
The only thing you can do is to sincerely apologize to Grace and accept her demands. Come on, sit down. Greg's mom grabbed his head and forced him to sit on the floor. He told me in a trembling voice as he shrank back from such a mother.
Grace, I'm really sorry. It's all my fault.
That's right. There's no denying that. At that moment, Greg lifted his head.
But please, don't just divorce me. I don't want to lose this life, my position as president of T Corp, or anything else. I'll be a good husband from now on, so please let this incident slide.
His mother, without a moment's hesitation, forcefully slapped Greg's head. Seeing him like that, I shouted loudly. Who's going to forgive you, you jerk? I'm definitely divorcing you. Pay the alimony quickly and disappear, you worthless man. The rest is up to hell to decide.
No way.
Greg cried out in tears and was dragged away by his mother by the scruff of his neck. Later on, the divorce between Greg and me somehow went through. He was ordered by his mother to pay alimony, and the amount he misappropriated totaling $60,000. I also demanded alimony from his cheating partner. She initially claimed she couldn't pay, but when I threatened to take legal action, she borrowed money and paid up. This apparently triggered a breakup between Greg and her. Having depleted his savings due to payments to me, Greg tried to return to his parents' house, but his mother refused. She had completely severed ties with Greg. Now homeless, he reportedly moved into a rundown apartment and is currently job hunting. Even upon hearing this, I feel no sympathy whatsoever. I can only think, serves you right. On the other hand, I am working hard while living alone. Recently, my father told me,
You are more capable than I thought. I hope you take over the company in the future.
Those words were more than joyful for me. Currently, I have revealed my identity within the company, and I'm undergoing training under my father as a successor. I would like to continue to make my life brighter by never ceasing my efforts.